Hey everybody, it's Eric. I'm back again. Hey, I want to do another installment on Drag Racing 101. I had mentioned in my previous video in my introduction, I was going to go over every aspect of the drag race from the staging lanes down to the shutdown area and everything in between, and what could possibly be going on and happening at those particular points of the race. So let's dive into this. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the stage lanes. I have a visual here. It's not really that great. I apologize for my artwork. Um, this is basically a generic map of what a typical staging lanes would look like. I kind of was trying to remember what Maple Grove Raceway looked like. My memory's not as good as it used to be. I apologize, but I tried to make it somewhat similar. So I'm just going to say it's generic. It's what could any drag strip could have a derivative of this particular one. So let's take a look here, okay? So as you can see here, we got the lanes here, and then here we have a walkway for that. You have lanes um, 1 through 8. And the odd numbers are your left lane, which be your pit side going down the track. Even numbers would be right, which would be spectator side. And so that way, and you're like, well, why do you need this many lanes? Well, it's for each class. Remember, your weekly bracket program usually runs about 4 different classes. So lane 1 and 2 might be for like your trophy eliminator. That's like your beginner novice class. 3 and 4 could be for street eliminator. Those cars usually have DOT slicks, high performance exhaust. They're street legal cars. I'm not sure if they lowered the ET on those or not, but it used to be 12 seconds and slower. 5 and 6 would be Pro Eliminator. Those are, slick cars, open exhaust, basically race cars. They could be street legal, they could be not street legal. And then 7 and 8 is your Super Pro. A lot of your Super Pro stuff is dragsters, tube chassis cars, professionally built stuff. Is usually running Super Pro. And those cars are however fast they can be. So that's your basic, how the lanes are broken down. Now, if we go back to our visual here, you're going to see here there's like a red line, okay? And I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, or maybe over here. It's dialing. You're going to say, Eric, what the hell is that? Okay. If you're making practice shots, that line doesn't mean anything. When you go into eliminations at a bracket race, that is everything. Because you have to figure out your car's handicap. And you need to write it or put it on the window of your car. Dial in, if you will. Okay? So, dial in is your handicap. You say, Eric, you're losing me. You're using these terms. Okay, let me break it down. You're handicapped, okay, is the ET, elapsed time, that you predict what your car is going to run before it runs it. So it's basically let's just keep it simple, and I'll just have it that it's an educated guess, okay? I'll get into things like logbooks and weather conditions and things like that in probably a later video, trying to tie it together. But for right now, probably the best way to remember what a dial-in is, it's an educated guess on what you think the car is going to run before it goes down the track. And you're like, Eric, why do you need a dial-in? What does that do? What it does is it's in an effort to make things fair. See, back in the day, it was always the guys who had cubic inches of money into their cubic inch race cars, and they won every week. And you had the guy who was trying to cut his teeth every week on sorry, I wanted to adjust the light. You had the guy who was cutting his teeth every week. He might not have had a big bankroll to put in his car, and of course, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to lose all the time. So they came up with this system. They actually stagger the Christmas tree, or I should say the starting lights. So in other words, for example, I'll try and keep even numbers here. Let's say you have a car running 10 seconds flat, okay? He's racing a guy who's running 12 seconds flat, okay? Now, if the light came down at the same time, obviously the 10-second car would win by 2 seconds, okay? So, in an effort to make it more fair or an even playing field, they will stagger the lights. In other words, the guy who's dialed at 12 seconds, if we're going to stick with that example, the guy who's dialed in at 12 seconds will leave his light will come down the tree 2 seconds before the guy running 10 seconds will. So in other words, he'll be 2 seconds down track. Boop, boop, boop. The guy at 10 seconds gets his green light. He's gone. Okay. So the theory is that both cars would be at the starting line at the same time with that principle. So it evens it up. So basically what the premise is that it puts the pressure on the driver to cut a good reaction time. And that will get into after we go through the burnout, and when we get in the pre-stage and actually starting the race, we'll start discussing those things and how they play into the whole deal. But for right now, we're on the staging lane. So anyway, and I don't know how I got out on this limb, and I lost total train of thought, so excuse me. But anyway, so the dialing, that's what we were talking about. So that's what dialing is, okay? It's just an educated guess. So moving right along here, you can see if let's say you're running trophies, so you're coming down here, and you'll actually go here. Now you'll see up here it says to the burnout box. So that would be the next step afterwards, after the staging lanes. Okay, so we're in the state. Okay, let's play along with me here. We're in the staging lanes. You have your car there. You're waiting. Let's say, well, it's my example. I run Pro Eliminator. Okay, so my Camaro has slicks, open exhaust, all that stuff. So let's say they're running the class before me, which would be Street Eliminator. Okay, so you see they're getting down to the last couple pair of cars in Street. You will see, look around, you'll see other guys starting to suit up. Suit up meaning they put on their safety gear. Do you need fire retardant pants? Do you need gloves? Fire retardant jacket. Depending too how far up, they will get in the car. They'll strap themselves in, put their helmet on. They might even fire it up, get some heat in the motor, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that could be happening in the staging lanes. Well, it has to happen, but when the class that's before you starts wrapping it up, if you will, that's when you need to start getting ready and get your safety gear on. So usually what I'll do is, if we go back here, like when I get to where this crosswalk is here, if I'm rolling the car down and I get there, that's when I start suiting up. I'll start putting my jacket on. I'll start strapping myself in, getting my helmet on, that kind of stuff. So that way, by the time I get down to about here, ready to go to the burnout, I'm basically strapped in, car running, fans on, ready to go. Okay. Now, sidebar here. If you're one of those kind of people who is going to run every weekend, you probably have a routine down. Sorry, I'm struggling for words here. It's been a long day. You have a routine down. Some guys even have it broken down that they always put their left driving glove on first before the right. Some guy might strap in before he puts the helmet on. Somebody might put, whatever. Okay. If that's what you think will help you be more consistent, then do that. Okay. If you want to get with it, then that way to make sure you don't forget something, because you don't want to be rolling up there, do your burnout, have the starter stop you and point out. Now you got to break your concentration because he's pointing at your car. Like, what's going on? And you say, hey, you got to put your roll bar pin in, or you got to, put your gloves on, or you got to strap. You have a strap that's missing, on your 5-point harness. Excuse me. So routine is good with that, so that way it doesn't break your concentration. So anyway, again, the dial in, the starting the car, getting heat in it, going through your routine, your focus. I'm going to say too, mentally getting ready. As far as what I'll do is, if I'm in, it doesn't really matter if I'm in eliminations or not. What I usually try to tell myself is what I want to do mentally, because your brain responds very well to specifics. In other words, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm rolling through the staging lanes in my Camaro, okay? And if I'm strapped in, I have the car fired up. And that's when I start talking in my head, if you will. I know it sounds weird, but it's what I do. And I tell myself, I want to have a good light. I want to have a good light, okay? My brain's like, okay, what's a good light? Well, a green one. Well, okay, green is anywhere from 000 to whatever, you know? It doesn't know what a good light is. So I actually read an article about this, and I thought it was a bunch of BS. You know, I was very skeptical at first until I tried it and it worked. Okay, so let's say you're in your time shots. You get 2 time shots before eliminations. Let's say you're doing your time shots. Okay, let's say I really don't want to push the tree. I want to make sure the car is good. I want to make sure it runs a number. I don't want to show my hand that I can cut a light. So you might go up there and in your brain say, hey, I want like an 020 or an 030 light. And you repeat that and say, that's what I want. I want an 020 light. I want an 020 light. I want an 020 light. Believe it or not, if you've been using your practice tree and you focus and you know what your car is going to do, chances are you're going to be damn near close. And I thought it was a bunch of BS. Honestly, I did. Until one time, I was at Island Dragway, and I'm rolling through the staging lanes, and I had a heavy hitter, and I was like, wow, I'm going to have to cut a good light. And I remembered right then that, hey, I just read this article about a good light could be anything. So I was like, you know what? How about an 010? An 010 light would be great. You know, can I have an 010? Come on, you know, and I'm telling myself, you can do this. 010 light, you can do this. Come on. So I go up there, I go through the water box, I do the burnout, pre-stage, stage, I bump in, I get up on the converter, the light comes down, I hit it. You're not going to believe this. 009 light. I'm like, okay, that was a fluke. I got the round win, by the way, so I was lucky. I got by. So I did it again. I said, 010 light. I want an 010 light. Would really be great if I had an 010, right? I do the same thing. I do the burnout, pre-stage, stage, get up on the converter, tree comes down, I hit it, boom. 011. So I'm telling you, it might sound wacky, but try it, okay? See if it works for you, okay? And let me know. I would appreciate if it would. If it didn't work for you and you thought it was bogus, that's okay too. Maybe you have something that works besides that works really well for you. Please let me know. So that's all the time I have for today. So I hope this kind of helps you understand the staging area. And to, you know, if you're a spectator, please be careful around the staging area, because there's some guys, they come roll, especially if there's cars moving, they come rolling down there from the pits, you know, and sometimes they have a head of steam. So be mindful, you know, that you don't get run over. I mean, I try to pay attention when it's a big deal to make sure I don't hit anybody, and I would hope the other guys driving would do the same, but just be mindful that could happen. So anyway, that staging lanes, the next video is going to be about the burnout box and what's all entailed there. Okay, so until next time, take care of each other, watch out for each other, have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. And please like, subscribe, and comment. Again, you can check me out on Instagram at Eric Snyder 26. You know, I'm trying to get some stuff posted up every day. So if you want to check that out, I would appreciate it, and have a great day. Bye-bye.